We need to know how you did this.
You think I wanted to come back? I was pulled away. Everything I came for was still back there. Left behind.
Remedy. The legendary creators of classic games like Max Payne and Alan Wake come back with a time travel mystery tale. The very own fabric of the universe is at stake here. But unfortunately, the tale of Jack Joyce is destined to be forgotten in time. Quantum Break arrives 1 or 2 years too late. A disclaimer. This critique is solely based on the Xbox One version of the game. We have heard of the problems with the PC version, but none of these are reflected in this review. Quantum Break would look like a breakthrough if this was 2014 and games like Rise of the Tomb Raider or The Order 1886 would not have been released yet. Now, although it might sound strange, the overall graphic fidelity looks dated, like what would you expect of a launch game. Without going into the technical details we have all been hearing about these past few weeks, the engine does some strange things that sacrifice the overall graphical presentation. Textures take long to load, shadows look odd and low quality, character models quality jumps all over the place, screen tearing is terrible at times, and there is a weird blur when characters move. Also, light sources are buggy. They do not respect solid objects in front of them, and they bleed through. I had a weird bug once in a while when a light source would stack up when reloading a checkpoint. In one fight that I'd reloaded several times, it was so bad that it was impossible at one point to see. But in the positive side, the actual art direction and craft of the looks is outstanding. I am particularly fan of the cold filter applied to the overall graphics, accentuated at the time stutter sequences. And I also like the misty, bloomy, overall dream popish ambience. Also, the special effects when using Jack's powers and during time stutters are awesome. The landscapes when time is frozen are so surreal that sometimes you just want to stop and admire. I need to remark how good the facial expressions of the characters look. This is actually critical to move the narrative of the game forward, and I can say that Remedy nailed it, aided by excellent acting from the AAA cast. Overall, Remedy did a good job with the tools they had at their disposal.
There's no words to describe it.
Quantum Break's sound quality is all over the place when it comes to special effects. Weapons, environmental sounds, and voices, they are all good and accurate. Gunshots might be a little weak though. Something I don't really understand is why there is sound during the time stutters when time is supposedly frozen. Geez, this really bothers me. Although, my main problem with Quantum Break is how quiet it sounds in my sound system or TV speakers. Even with the dynamic sound option active, the mix is still bad and dialogue gets lost on environmental sounds. Overall, it sounds weak. I highly recommend playing with a pair of headphones to mitigate this issue enormously. It will help you appreciate the work done here better. As for the music, damn, I love the music in Quantum Break. Easily my favorite part of the game. Both the original soundtrack from Petri Alanko and the licensed tracks are rad. Alanko's compositions are beautiful, very sci-fi textured. It elevates the ambience of the game and fits perfectly with every set piece, from exploration to storytelling and action sequences. I don't want to linger much on the licensed tracks because music taste is subjective, but let me tell you, these are tunes I listen to every day. More than once I put the credits only to listen to the songs playing on the background. I link to both the OST and a playlist I put together in the Spotify below. Go check them out. As a side note, you can always disable licensed tracks from the menu to avoid copyright issues with your streams or YouTube uploads. Second disclaimer in this video. I am a time travel sci-fi geek. I love time traveling stories and I had a lot of issues with the story. but I realize most are nitpicks, so I won't go into those here. Remedy is known for their good stories, and Quantum Break does not really disappoint, but barely passes the bar. The overall plot of the game is intriguing enough to carry you to the end, but it is not that great or fresh. Most of the exposition is delegated to long, boring collectibles like emails, radio shows, time echoes, or newspaper clippings. I just found one or two interesting enough to read them completely, but most are boring walls of corporate text. Also, the TV show does not really move the story forward, but more on that in a second. Stakes are set too high, but Remedy does a poor job to sell you that the ultimate fate of all existence is in your hands. I think they are better making smaller, more personal stories. Also, the story is riddled with inconsistencies and things that are either left unexplained or feel like very fortuitous coincidences. For example, Joyce being a cold-blooded mass killer simply explained as him being a rebellious punk, and a tech company openly owning a militarized security force. Come on, really? But the mystery behind the plot is well played. It reminded me of a very, very light version of the movie Primer. Watch it if you wanna get a headache. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. The story during gameplay is competent enough, but nothing worth of a headline. But the biggest gimmick in this release is a tied-in TV show, and to be fair, it is alright. The quality is good to be a video game tie-in, but the script is laughable. Some dialogue and plot points are dumb and do not feel like something you'll expect of a AAA show or a movie. Regardless, the excellent acting by everyone in the cast makes you wear your wow. Also, the action scenes are cool. The cast did an excellent job with what they had, although I don't really feel like waiting for season 2. Something that bothered me about the TV show's story is that it was not really a character piece or an end of the world story. It felt like it did not develop one thing or the other good enough, and its ending was not satisfying whatsoever. Quantum Break is an interesting experiment and shows why video games work well as its own medium, and why game stories do not really work well in other media. To put it simply, the gameplay in Quantum Break is mediocre. This game has a lot of wasted potential. It feels like every element of gameplay was underdeveloped, and some design decisions are baffling. Remedy tried to put some exploration, but three main things make it unenjoyable. First, Jack moves like he's walking on molasses. Second, climbing and jumping is scripted and very strict about where or what you can climb. And third, the goddamn damn vision. I pressed that damn Y button the most during my gameplay. This was bothersome because the art style and immersion goes to shit, and finding collectibles or upgrade points, called chronon sources, is a chore without it. I fucking hate focus mode, eagle vision, detective mode, whatever you wanna call it. Developers, stop using this mechanic. It kills the pace of the game and the immersion. As for the combat, it feels so half-baked that really breaks my heart, because I love time wizardry and time manipulating powers. The gunplay is floaty and guns feel weak. The cover system is not that useful. There is no blind fire or grenades, and staying in cover is not always a good idea, since enemies always look to flank you, which is a good thing about the AI. But all of this is puzzling because Remedy clearly designed the game around Jack's time powers. But his time powers suck. They are limited and you don't really count with many tools to dispose of your enemies. It would not be that bad if you had more open-ended options to tackle battles. But no, there is no stealth. Environmental hazards are almost non-existent and useless. And so forth. Worst of all, everything goes to waste when you start facing enemies with technology to counter your powers, turning most of your abilities pointless. The combat really clicked for me until the very end of the game, for like a battle or two. I want to mention that the game is easy. Very, very easy. If you want any resemblance of a challenge, select hard difficulty from the start. It is way easier than normal in any other Remedy game. Well, the game is easy until you get to the last fight. This is when all the glaring faults of Quantum Break combine to create the perfect shitstorm of unfairness and poor design. Finally, another pillar of the gameplay that directly affects the narrative is when you have to select a choice that will alter how the TV show plays. The choices available are very uninteresting. I will not go deeper to avoid spoilers. Let's just say that they also feel half-baked. My final verdict for Quantum Break is a rental. I am very disappointed at this game. Funnily enough, it feels like the game came too late, but at the same time, it could have used a couple more months of polish and tweaking. I am pretty sure that changing the cast and adding Iceman and Littlefinger took a toll in the final product. The whole TV show gimmick is nothing that will change the industry, and I don't see it but as a novelty. It is worth a playthrough though, because of the beautiful ambience and the great music. But if you want to play a better time travel story, you are better off playing Life is Strange. If you want to try some cool wizardry, try Singularity. And if you want a better Remedy game, stick with Max Payne. Well guys, thank you very much for watching. Thumbs up if you liked the video, or thumbs down if you did not. Leave us a comment and tell us what you think about Quantum Break. Subscribe for more content. We will be happy to see you again in the future. Until next time, this is Shinke signing out.